Okay, this was actually running so good that I just had to brag and show you that these guys actually, unlike Star Citizen, they've actually been working to get this running again. And this is how mining should work, and now watch it screw up. And I said that, but see how we're boring like a mole on steroids. This is how mining should be. Wow, it's been all through alpha and first week of beta till they opened it up live to everybody. But no pending operation mini gameplay. And I was actually over 800 meters below, almost 900 meters below sea level, which basically was over 1,000 meters deep below the surface. And I'm just coming back out of this hole like I know what I'm doing. Just eating it up. And this is how it should be in this game. The way it should be. Now we are boring. This is mining is an integral part of this gameplay, resources. Unless you're a market person. If you want to build things, you want to get into crafting, make ships and all that stuff, you need to be able to mine. You don't have to mine. Boy, it was miserable for the last few days mining. They seem to have done something with the server here when they shut her down earlier today. 3 hours ago or so. My first time back in, I just gave up on it because it was terrible. I couldn't go anywhere. Now I just have the middle mouse button pressed and it's just, don't have to hold the mouse button down and I'm just bored and damn near out already. This tunnel I'm going to bookmark when I get out of it because, and I'm going to call it the road to hell, because to pick up the higher tier materials on any planet you need to go very deep, over 500 meters. Most of the stuff, the cheaper stuff, the lower tier stuff is closer to the surface, but on this world you get tier 2 down here and you really got to get below 500 meters to find it. I am going to bookmark this so I can at least come back in this tunnel, and I'll save myself having to bore deep. I'll still have to bore horizontally to find it, but I won't have to go through another 900 feet of rock. I'll be able to get down to the right area. At least for this material, or this type of material that I want when I want to go deep. The other stuff, I'll just come off the surface. If I bookmark this hole, it'll save me time. And we're almost sea level. There's water, so there we are with sea level. We hit the water. And now we got about 150 feet more to get out onto the surface, because we are above sea level where our base is. So I think it was 150 meters. But as you can see, it's not going to take us long to cover the rest of the distance. Unlike before. Just dig now. Doesn't make it such a chore. And we are digging pretty close to straight up. Not exactly, 90 degrees would be straight. But with our jetpack, we have no trouble climbing this big angle. W key. Out of the hole. Here we go. Whoops. Come on, let me out. We are out of the hole, and as you can see, we'll get over here and we'll try and look down it, and it'll be pretty close to straight down. See that? There we go. So let's go to the map and let's place a bookmark. Remember how to do it. Create bookmark from clipboard's not really what I want to do here. Okay, here's where we're at. Bookmark location. We're going to call it The Road to Hell. Deep mining. Okay, now we have the road to hell, and it'll be bookmarked if we have to look for where this is at. And we won't have to search for this hole because, trust me, the odds are good that we would not find it. So now all we have to do is go to our base, and we'll Control Z to get there in a hurry. We're not too far away. There's our territory unit. The base is just over this rise. See our new pad we're putting in. We're putting in a size, I believe that's a size medium. I had an extra small that I've already taken apart. Everything's on a pad small core, and now I'm putting in an extra large pad, and this is a whole much bigger because I was running out of space, what it boils down to. As you can see the grid here, I can make it several stories tall. This was just so I could get to the core when I placed it. See how I did that? Just made me a little bridge so I could get up and turn the core on and off before I got this pole down and got it here. Now I can just do it here at the ground, but when I put the core up there, you could not reach it. Once you turn the grid off, with the grids on, you've got unlimited jetpack, of course. But with the grid off, you don't have this. So once the grid was off, I had to figure out how in the hell am I going to be able to reach it, and I finally came up with a way to build a little bit at a time. Got up there, stood on top of the ship, got up there and turned it back on because I had it off, and then I brought down this, had a bunch of honeycomb that I'd made, and then made this so I could turn the other one on. Anyway, there's ways you can do things when you think, holy shit, did I screw up? But as you can see, there's a lot of area I still have to clear out. This is a pretty big pad, but I was running out of space is what it boils down to. This pad over here is a medium size, and I could cram stuff together, but really I was out of room to make anything. But we went and did all this mining. We picked up limestone or natron, and we picked up limestone. So as you can see, we now have a good collection of stuff. And what do we need made? We're going to need both limestone and looks like aluminum here. So we'll go to this one and we'll get some shit made. Show doable. We got calcium. I thought there was copper here, but it wound up to be sodium. I don't know. But I could have swore it was copper on this plant. It was supposed to be the tier 2 down below ground, but it was natron. So that's problematic. Still going to need copper. I've been using copper for fuel. I'm going to have to switch, which means I'll have to empty my tanks because you can't mix the fuels. All right. And for a little trick, don't do like I did. I had something in my inventory I didn't want to dump. I had 1,600 liters of nitron fuel, which is atmospheric fuel, and if you die back, you lose what's in your inventory. So if you're going to go deep mining, make sure you link to a box on the surface if you have the range, if your skills are up to it, and that way you can die back out of the hole and you don't have to dig your way back out. Now, I don't remember if there's anything I was doing particularly. Let's see what we got here that I need to move. See, I got a large container for the new pad to put out that I've already built. Let's see, pipes, hydraulics. I'm going to have more hydraulics here in the future, so we're just going to go ahead and 25, we'll do 50. Got enough pipes for that, I think. Over 100, 25 a shot. Now we better run at 25 at a time until I get a backlog. That way I won't shut it down. Let's put in another. We'll go ahead and put in another 200 pipes. We'll get that out of the way. Anything else I need off the top of the head I can't think of. Plenty of alloys. Could use some more steel. Might as well get that run. Do I have the stuff to make pallet? Kind of like plastic, probably do. Go ahead and get a little steel going. I will use it in the future, even if I don't need this instant. We'll go over to a chemical fast, and I got another chemical plant to put out. I just haven't. Okay, let's see what we got here. No, so we do not have. Well, I haven't. It's not finished making the stuff, so I'll have to wait and see. Let's see what it says about polysite. Whoops. Polysite plastic, what does it need? Calcium and carbon. So I have calcium. When I make some, I can go ahead and make some more polysite. As soon as it does. Material takes longer to run than it's still low. We maybe have enough now to make one load, probably not. I forget how much it takes. No, don't have it yet, but that's okay, it'll get there. Okay, I did make some more. Thanks, Sky. No, we got 10 meters. We're gonna go ahead and make some more. I'm making it out of silicone. So we'll go ahead, that's 100. We're going to go ahead and set it on 20 and just keep pushing out the silicone until it makes that many. Because we're going to use at least that much just for the base, and then the time I'm going to make an extra large assembly. This is a large. I'll make an extra large, which I haven't started yet. That's what we're going to do. Elements, industry, assembly line excellent. This is what we're going to make next as far as this goes. See, we need a whole lot of shit. And I can get some of it. Basic. Okay, let's get the basic screws running. I have some, but I don't have that many. Okay, what's it take? It takes steel, I'm sure. You get 10 liters or 100, so I need 2,000. So I probably don't have enough. I'm going to do 50 here. Whoops. I'm going to have to run out of steel before we get that much done. That's okay. Basic power systems. How many I've got? Go ahead over here. Basic power system. Come on, 625. Let's go ahead and start this. Basic vectors. Uh-oh. Going to need side steel. We're going to need some more of that alloy. Let's see, we've got on psyllium, alloy, and we're not going to keep it running. Alright. We are going to need iron. We're going to need a bunch, so we're going to have 20 load runs of it. Then we're going to have to do carbon and more aluminum to take out. We got things working out for the next part assembly. I got screws, some more hydraulics, more pipes for hydraulics. Looks like we're good to go. And now we're going to go play with shipbuilding here in wonderful Go Universe. Let's see. Restream doesn't seem to want to pick up how many people are watching. I will probably cut this and overwrite written video here. There we go. Anyway, people have been asking all kinds of questions and in Discord chat for Dual Universe, having trouble making ships. Okay, this little ship is a light cargo holder. It carries a small cargo box. So at my talents, I think roughly 9,600 liters of extra mass. When you're building a ship, there's things you have to watch for. First thing you want to do when you build a ship is you want to pay a great deal of attention to the information grid that it gives you when you're in build mode. That gives you build mode, and you see all this information at the top. It gives you a lot of information that you're going to have to use to build one that will fly. And then after you get it to fly, you got to figure out how to make it stabilized. Okay, now this is the mass, and it's very important because G's and mass is how you figure lift. Okay, this is just fuel manager. It doesn't care how much fuel you'll carry. That's not a big thing. And then you have, this is atmospheric flight engineer. Max thrust. That's how fast the ship will go. Brake force is how fast you can slow it down. If you want good brakes, you'll put enough brakes on your vessel to be able to stop it quickly and hold it in place. Max speed, it's more, you're not really caring about how fast you're going, just that you have enough forward momentum to break out of atmosphere if you're making a space vessel, space capable vessel. If you're not, max speed is not near as important. Low altitude lift. We do not have runways and stuff. These ships have to take off vertically. That means you have to have a good low altitude lift. This one is 2.43 G's empty. Full, it is only about 1.5. As I said, mass makes a difference. Once I fill up the cargo box, this figure comes down. But make sure it's up there. Don't, you're going to find out if you have low lift, it's not going to take off no matter how you push it. High altitude lift is basically, for a winged craft, it's how much lift you have, but you can still do the things with rockets. You can get high altitude lift, and you can get high altitude lift with vertical motors. Cross sections, pretty self-explanatory how large they are, length and width. This ship is built on an extra small box, but I did use the whole box. I'll show you once we get outside. Same thing when you go to for your space flight. Same thing. Brake, I cannot stress enough. Put enough retro rockets or reverse some motors so you can slow the damn thing down. It's easy to slam into planets going too fast, and you're just going to spend the next 30 to an hour repairing your ship. Once again, it needs low altitude lift to get off the ground. It's just not going to get it into space. It doesn't make any difference. This is just your rotations, and you can see where your torque is. You can reset it with Lua. This one is just set up. I haven't changed any of the Lua stuff, so I just did what it did automatically. Although you can make custom strips, and this is your elements in what's your atmospheric elements. It tells you what you have on the ship. As you can see, it's quite extensive. Different units and stuff that I'm using. Same thing with space. Okay, you have your common element report. Tells you like adjusters. How many adjusters I've got on this ship. As you can see, it's a shitload. Same thing with vertical boosters, and I'll explain that when we get down under the ship again. You see, I got a lot of vertical boosters, and it's not to get it off the ground, it's to balance it when I'm not moving very fast. This button shows you can use newtons or G's, unit of speed, kms or meters per second. This displays the center of center of mass. This does nothing but turn the grid on and off. Grid's on always, and how transparent it is grid visibility, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, we'll close this, turn the build mode off. 2 tanks. I have 2 space tanks. This is space fuel. Now, I don't need 2, but I needed 2 because I needed the plugs. You only have so many plugs per tank, and I had more units, space units, like vertical boosters take space fuel. The engines, space engines, and I ran out of plugs, so I added an extra tank. This is, let's see, I believe this is a medium size, 1600 size atmospheric tank. This ship burns a lot of atmospheric fuel. Extra small and small, wasn't gonna cut it. This thing carries, I think, 1600 liters. So I can take off and land on 2 different planets before I'm out of fuel. This is the controller seat. Now, one thing about controllers, you can right click them and you can go to advance and you can change the control scheme. Keyboard and mouse, which I'm using, and keyboard and mouse virtual joystick. I think the virtual joystick sucks, but to each his own. If you like it, that's fine. I wish we had joysticks. We don't have joysticks, but I do use keyboard and mouse control, and that's how you switch them, just by right clicking. If you got a cockpit, you right click it. If you've got a command seat like this ship has, I put in, you just right click it. Okay, now we go back here and you'll see the cargo box here. It's a small size. And like I say, the weight of the ship with this full and with it empty, with full fuel tanks, it all makes a difference whether or not it will fly and get into space. Now, it'll fly regardless, but to get into space, like I say, mass versus G's, thrust, whatever you want to call it, it makes a difference. So when you're designing your ship, you're putting cargo in it, you have to take that in consideration. Now, I've got a lot of medium-sized brakes. This is a brake. There's 2 underneath going sideways. So there's 1 on each side. So there's 5 air brakes on there. So I can actually hold this ship stationary on the ground to keep it from moving around, which is important. Okay, these are retro rockets. Okay, I've actually got 6 of them on there because there's 2 here, the 2 on down the sides. We'll show you. These are vertical boosters. There's 2 in the front. They don't need to have as many up there because of your center of gravity. Light in the front end, as you can tell just by looking at it, so it doesn't need as much up there to stabilize it. Now, back here in the back, vertical boosters, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all in the back end. Now, I could have just done this with a couple large ones, but I'm trying to balance the ship. So when it comes up on a vertical booster, if it's ass heavy, side heavy, it doesn't take off sideways, which they do. This way I've got it where it's pretty balanced, so even when I don't even have the brake on, it holds pretty steady. Something to use. Adjusters. These are adjusters here. See these? There's several on both sides, top, bottom, over the wings, under the wings, in all directions. Okay. Landing gear, you do not need to use landing gear. The only difference is if you're hard landing, you're going to tear up the gear and not your ship. So depends on what you want to appear. You don't need to use landing gear in this game. It's just more for looks and more to make sure you don't damage things like these vertical boosters. These are size small vertical boosters to help add lift, both in atmosphere and on the ground. Helps it get into space earlier. I can put big enough motors on here, believe it or not, that I can vertical lift it all the way to space. The trouble is it's very gas hoggy to do that, but you do not need wings that provide lift if you have enough vertical boost on it. When I first started making this design, or when I first started envisioning it, I just was going to vertical lift it. And it was fine when I just had this bottom platform and didn't have any weight on it, and it didn't take a lot of fuel. But when I started adding mass, holy shit, did it start burning fuel to get it off the ground. So I went ahead and added the wings. As you can see, these two wings are large wings, medium wings, whatever size they are. There's one on each side. They perform the atmospheric lift when I'm moving forward. These two will too, but the angle of them, they don't provide any lift. They're just on there for looks. I finally went with one big atmospheric engine. Now I had it in several configurations. I had smalls were just too small, but I tried the small ones and they were not enough thrust no matter how many motors I put on here. And the mediums were okay, but at the time I had it so many, it turned it into a real big gas hog. So I finally broke down and built one of these, and now I have one atmospheric engine and it does all the thrust it needs. It's got a small stabilizer up here. It doesn't seem to make any difference in this particular ship, just the way it is. It's got 4 space engines. It has way more space engines than it needs. The difference is it will boost up pretty quick, then you just throttle it back, because this thing will go so damn fast you can't throttle it down in space in time to stop before you smack into the atmosphere and kill yourself. Okay, I think that's all the things on the ship. You can see that, and then it's just aesthetics. Like I say, I made this creation on the top here to hide the come on. I made this creation on, see this? This is just aesthetics, just to hide the fuel tank. Is all that is. I wish we had curved cockpits, curved glass, because I could have made a whole lot better looking cockpit up here if we had curved glass, but that's not something we have, or at least not in the game. But you can see I've got lots of adjusters on it, lots of retro rockets. Everything I can use to get this to fly easily. And it is quite involved. It took me a long time to get the tweaks out of it. And it's not the only ship. I got another one hidden up here on the hill somewhere there. Just a little ship. And I've spent all it, but see, it flies just fine too. It'll go to other planets. But it's trial and error when you build them. I guess if you had the calculators, you could calculate everything. But you have to trial and error. They give you a few tools that you can work with, and that's fine. Another thing that's important is the center of gravity in these ships. See this line going across here and up and down? That is the center of gravity for this ship. You notice that if you look at the length, it is ass heavy. And yes, it is, because you can just tell by looking at it. Most of the shit's back here. You want to keep the center of gravity as far forward as you want to when you're setting up vertical boosters to balance the ship when you're hovering. If not, it will pitch forward, it'll pitch back, it'll pitch left, it'll pitch right. That's why I use smaller vertical boosters and I spread them out on the other undercarriage to balance it when it lifts off. I could have had just as much lift with one. I think these are mediums, or maybe they're small. I think these are 4 small. These are small ones I'm using, but I could have used just one medium in the middle and got just as much lift, but it tends to be squirrely when you're hovering, so you constantly got to work it. And I didn't put any lateral thrust on it, so I can't use lateral thrust. And I could add it, I just don't seem to need it. But there's a center of gravity in the middle, going both directions. It's just a big cross. As you can see, that's your center of gravity. Try to keep it reasonably forward. Think about it when you're adding stuff to keep it so when you balance the vertical thruster to hover, it's easier to set up. If it's too far back, you really have a rough time getting enough stuff back there to lift all the weight in one spot. Of course, going the other direction, you want to keep it as low as possible, or it'll have a tendency to want to flip over upside down. When you land everything, it will flip over real easy. This one's pretty well balanced up and down, so it doesn't have a tendency to flip unless you catch it on the ground going sideways, and it will flip, or when you crash landing, it's easy to do. Okay, we got that part done. Now we'll go ahead and we'll show you how this one behaves. The ships, when they're not set up right, they are a nightmare to fly. Make no mistake about it. Get into your ship. As soon as you do, hit your brake. In this case, see, we're not moving. We're in the air. We are off the ground. Let me see. We'll change views here. We are off the ground. But see, we're not going anywhere. We're staying stationary because I have enough brakes to hold the ship. And now we'll raise the landing gear. Okay, now we're going to give it a little forward throttle, just a little bit. It's not going to take much. Let off the brake. And now we can control our hover. See how nice this is hovering. We can get up in the air by turning our vertical thrusters on, let it come down. Watch turning too quick, it will roll. So you have to keep on that. But see, here you go. And we're just in simple hover mode, nothing fancy. I mean, we're in full flight now. We have enough lift now we can take off, but I'm just showing with a balanced ship, you can not have to worry about it flipping over all the time, and they will do that easily. Control is brake. You hit the control key, you see it breaks down right quick. It'll hover right over the top of the water, makes landing easy. It's not a matter of a controlled crash. It's all about balancing your ship. It takes you a while to figure it out, but once you get it, you work with the ship to get it to how you want to. Now we'll give it full vertical thrust, get as much altitude as we can. Depends on how much vertical thrust we have and how good your talents are. The better talents, the more boost you're going to get vertically. These engines I have on here, these vertical engines, these smalls, this is about as high as I can go. About 85, 90 meters here. It's climbing slowly, but the lift is kicking in from the wings. Okay, now we'll just throttle it up here, and we'll just start going some atmosphere. And like I say, this ship for its size, with this big ass motor strapped on it, is fairly quick, and it will go into space fairly easy. And I should have filled it up, so we're going to take a store. I do not have that much fuel, so I actually have some in my backpack, so let's just take her back down. And we'll stop somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and we'll fill it up. You cannot fill it while you're in the pilot seat, unfortunately. I didn't think to look. We're not going anywhere space-wise. We got plenty of space fuel, even though I don't have any on me. But see, we're coming into land, and you'll see that it's not that big a thing when you get your ship working. It is when you don't. And it's easy to land over water. It doesn't make any difference. Now, the land does matter if it's too bumpy. If you're on a, let's be realistic. It can be a pain in the ass if you're on really rough ground, regardless of how well the ship is balanced. We're just going to come down here. We're going to lose some altitude. We're going to level it up. And there we go. That's simple. A controlled landing. And that's what we're shooting for. That's what you're going for. Because until you get the ship balanced you're going to crash every time. You may not hurt anything, but it's going to be a rough landing. As you can see, we're just coming in just like we know what we're doing. When I'm a terrible pilot. I do not have a lot of skills in pilot yet. I have put it into mining in my avatar, but here we are. Now we're just going to set her on the ground. See this? Well, I didn't put down the landing gear. Like I say, landing gear is a luxury. You don't need it as long as you're careful. Rough landings, you're saving the rest of your ship. That makes a difference. Okay, let's get out of the pilot seat and we'll fill up the fuel tank. Hit fuel tank, and we've got a full pack. We've got a bunch in our backpack, so we'll just fill it up. And always make sure you carry extra if you're world hopping, because it will make a difference. Okay, now we'll get back in the seat. If it lets us, come on. Looks like we got there it goes. Sometimes you get a little server lag. Okay, we're back up. We're going to get up. We're going to get our thrust going, and we're going to change views because I'd much rather see the ship, because I don't like looking out. We were on somebody's territory there, by the way, which was no big deal because we were just filling up. And you can get pretty good rate angle with this and still climb to space. You want to check your speed. You got to keep your speed up over 500 km an hour. And it doesn't need, I think 300 will do it. It'll keep climbing. So we can get a pretty good angle of the dangle here and get out pretty quick before we start losing enough thrust that we cannot get out of the atmosphere. And we'll just take a look. As you can see, we're running it pretty hard here. And we're just flying right on out. Now, don't think this is easy to do. It took me a while to figure all this out. And I am not a pro. Don't think I am. I just have found what works for me. There's people out there, I'm sure, who say, well, no, don't do this, don't do that. That's fine. I didn't look at nobody's video. I sit here and I figured all this out myself, what works. Might not be the perfect way, but it does work, at least for me. Like I say, the vertical engines are not needed. I originally was going to design it that way, and I found out how much gas fuel it used. And so I went ahead and added wings because, yeah, I didn't want to carry that much fuel to get it off the ground. And now I left them on there, although I put smaller ones on there. Now I just left them on there for looks. So I don't want the ship to look bad, you know. And it doesn't matter the shape. It can be boxy. There are no aerodynamics except for the wing lifts in this game. See, we already got our space engines going. We are in space, or high altitude anyway, but we are now in warp, as you can see. Now, once you are in warp, to change directions, you have got to throttle this puppy down. I mean, I can move this all around, and it's really not going to affect the direction this ship's going because we are in space, and it's in warp, and the course is pretty much locked in right now until we slow down. Now, I'm not slowing down because if I slowed in before, over on the right, our HUD, it says the dynamic core unit. If we slow down before we get out of the gravity well, which you can see, we're still in it at 7.44, fourth one, it's dropping. If we slow down before we get out of the gravity well, it will pull us back to the ground. And if you're not ready for it, you will crash because we're going to carry way too much speed to be hitting the atmosphere. Now, that's what we got the retro brakes for. Now, see how much braking I have? 571. There is a reason. Because you have got to slow the puppy down before you hit the atmosphere. Brakes, 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 both in the atmosphere and in space, are a godsend. Now, when we get below 2,000, we will drop out of warp, and we are going to start losing altitude pretty quick, because we are now just running on momentum. So we're going to start leveling ourselves out to the ground. Now we're slow enough. Try to get it down to 1,000 before you hit the atmosphere is a good guess. Okay. See, we're still pretty high, but we're coming in. I can let off the brake now. We're going slow enough. Don't let the speed creep up too much on you while you're dropping. I'm going to give it a little space speed so we get down faster. Not going to get carried away. I do not want to get my speed too high, or I will burn up in the atmosphere. These ships in space fly like spaceships, except when it hits that warp. As soon as you hit that warp where the stars start sliding past you, you're pretty much locked on that course until you slow down below that and then make a trajectory change. Trajectory strange. Hate the speech impediment. But we're getting going too fast. I'm going to brake it again. I have more brake than I have forward thrust, so I can do that. Keep it down. Like I say, 1,100, 1,000 seems to be about perfect when we hit the atmosphere. This ship will start glowing red. And yes, some people are going to say, well, this is all basic stuff. And yes, it is, except for the new people who have not a clue how to do this. And I was one of them too. This is just what I came up to make all this work. Okay, we're coming in. We're gonna start hitting the atmosphere here. Our other engines are going to kick in here in a minute. You can hear the sound change as we're hitting the atmosphere. Hear it rumbling. We are actually on the outer edge of it, and we're going to start glowing red here on the bottom, and we are going to start plummeting to Earth. You drop altitude really quick, so you have to be aware of it. Okay, we're now getting into our atmospheric engines. I'm kicking them on. Let's see, we're falling. And we have our lift, and see how smooth it is because we didn't come in too fast. If you come in too fast, this ship will glow bright red. You'll have a big heat shield signature, and parts will start blowing up. And you will crash. Make no mistake about it. You'll plummet to the ground, and you spend 30 minutes to an hour repairing your ship. Lots of fun. Very boring to sit around with your little gun and repair your ship. Not at all a lot of fun. And like I say, you can keep it burning fast. I mean, if you want to go fast, it's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter. I would like a joystick where we could roll and turn. Just be pretty. Let's see, it looks like we're on the other side of the planet, so we'll go around the curve here. There's a little speed. We got plenty of fuel to waste. We're just going to fly over the planet until we come up on our home. I'm not sure where I have the destination stat. I think it's set for the pads. I can check it, but we'll find out when we get close. But see, not too bad. It's what you get used to. Ships can be a lot of fun to build. Got to figure out what you want. But you'll get it, you'll work on it. Just a few things you have to pay attention to. Like I say, balance is the key. Brakes, brakes, brakes. Lots of brakes. Don't be afraid to put on a brake. If you can't hold your ship still, hovering, you probably don't have enough brake on it. Because they do, unless it's perfectly balanced, it's going to pitch left, it's going to pitch right, it's going to pitch forward, you're not going to be able to hold still. And that makes for very bad landings. Even still, to get used to it. I still occasionally screw up when I'm landing, even with this one, the way it's balanced, by not paying attention or getting cocky. You know how that is. Try to come in too fast. Take your time. Or you're just going to spend a whole lot of your time repairing your ship. And I have found the components on your ship, just normal wear and tear causes damage. So don't think because you didn't crash or you didn't do anything, you land and you check your components, all of a sudden something's damaged. They just seem like there's wear and tear involved in the game. Which is fine, it's not a problem. I guess it actually makes it realistic. And like I say, I wish there was something we could do. This view, like I say, I wish we had curved glass so I could make it neat and stylish and all that stuff. All we have is flat glass. And I can look all around the combat by hitting the Alt key. You know, just like Microsoft Flight Simulator. You know, so as you can see, you can look. I mean, it is what it is. It just can't be very stylish with the cockpit because we won't have any curved glass, not if you want to see out of it. I mean, if you don't care about seeing out, it's just you can do anything you want. Put nose cones on it and everything. If you don't want to see out, that's curved glass. I wish we could curve glass. If there was a tool I would like updated or added, it would be curved glass. I don't even know if that's possible with boxes. Here's this will be got construction here to the right. This looks like one of the planetary masses, as big as it is already. Although some of these guys, these teams, these guilds, they're really doing some building. Hell, they probably already got their space stations out there. Yeah, that's one of the bases. One of those parts, markets, or whatever you want to call it. That's what that is. As you can see, we have all kinds of constructions around it because people don't want to go very far from the market. Me, I would rather fly there and get away from everybody a little bit. There's somebody's construction they're working on down there. He's done quite a bit, as you can see. Yes, you can fly around a good ship enjoyably and check out everybody's work. Get ideals for yourself. But your ship has a lot to do with how much you're going to enjoy flying in this game. If it's on the ragged edge of everything, it is going to be miserable, you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to be throwing your computer. Trust me, I have threatened to throw mine several times before I got it all figured out. And like I say, I don't claim that I'm some expert. This is what I've come up with as I've been working on it, trying to figure out how things work, what information they're really giving me. I played in alpha in the first week of beta. There were no tutorials to speak of. Now you have a lot of information from people who have played and figured this out too. But, you know, we had none of this. So it was pretty much, unless you were an organization, you really didn't get no help. You had to figure it out yourself. And a lot of people tried it, didn't like it, because the learning curve can be pretty stiff here. But once you get the basics down to how it works, it's not too bad. For me to build another ship would not be that big a deal from scratch because I know what I'm looking at. Know what I'm looking for now, depending on the type of ship I'm building. Whether it be a fighter, or it'd be another atmospheric ship, or a purely spaceship. Frame rates are down a little bit. I don't understand why. They've been running a good serious 60 frames constant. They seem to be down here today, or this evening for whatever reason. Volumetric clouds, the future of Star Citizen in 10 years. Take them 10 years to build them. And you can turn them off, the volumetric clouds, save you some CPU, GPU cycles if you wish. I leave them on because I don't care. When you build your ship, make sure you have enough fuel. When I first put a lot of motor on it, like I say, I only had a small tank, I guess it was. Yeah, small tank. And I ran out of fuel just trying to get it to space. I thought, holy shit. So we added a medium-sized tank, like I say, 1,600 liters. But see, I built this to carry cargo, so it's got to carry mass. And still, it only carry between, what the nano box, your backpack carries, and the small cargo box. So it's not mass, like I say, it's not a big cargo carrier. But when they're full, when everything's full, that's a lot of weight. And in this gravity, in a higher gravity world, it would not take off. I mean, substantially higher. With a full load. With my pack and the cargo box full and full fuel, it would not take off. You got to have enough G's to overcome the gravity. Enough lift. Now, once I got it flying, it's got a lot of lift. When I get it moving like this, but from a dead stop, it only has not quite 2.5 G's lift from the ground straight up. And that's what you're looking at. And it's a different figure. Like I say, 2.5 G's empty is not the same 2.5 G's when it's full. And your little box up there will show you the difference. It will give you a different reading when you load it up. I don't know what is wrong with my frame rates here. Shame on this server. Gonna make it rough to land, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know why all of a sudden the frame rate's been running there at 60 to all the time. We've got a neighbor here, as you'll see, down on the left. Yeah, I don't know what the frame rate shit is. Okay, we can now click about 1,000 meters away for yeah, I don't understand why. I'm not going to worry about putting it on the pad. We're just going to park it over here. And see, this is the only time I wish I had lateral thrusting. I might install it yet, so I could give it a little side thrust to give it a push. Probably would be handy. Would be handy if I would do it. But see, not too bad. What the hell did I do here? Oh shit. What did I do? Did I catch the end of the pad? I might have. Easy enough to fix. I didn't hurt nothing. It's all that matters. I might have hit the end of the pad with the landing gear. I didn't mean to, but I think I did. I wasn't high enough. I didn't jump over it because there is a dip there. But to fix it, just use your maneuver tool. Click it, lift it. Don't bang it around. We didn't hurt nothing. Whoops, wrong direction. Get it high enough so we can flip it. There we go. Easy as it can be. What happens when you're not paying attention? And whenever you fly it, check it to make sure you don't have any damage. Just hit your 9 key, your repair tool. As you can see, nothing hurt nothing, even though we did something stupid. Yeah, I think I hit the end of the pad there. I wasn't paying attention to my height. I think that's what I did. But as you can see, nothing is yellow or red, so nothing got hurt because we were moving slow enough. Because it will hover. Okay, that's the tutorial that I have for you guys. Ship flying Eychimo's way. Shipbuilding, I should say. And this one is, I made it out of carbon fiber because I figured carbon fiber is lightweight and strong. I don't know if that's true. You don't have as, make it out of plastic to get more colors. But you don't have many colors of carbon fiber, but that's white glossy and black glossy, and looks like somebody forgot to put a block in there. Might be me. It's possible it's me. But there you go. Hope that helped everybody out. We may cut a video out of that later. Maybe not. Who knows? We might. Okay, let's see what we got. We probably more down. What we use up? Didn't use silicon. Used up for silicon. Making all those making that honeycomb pad. Okay, let's see. Pure calcium. Let's see. I think we got sodium, 10 of this. How much honeycomb did we get made before we ran out? Well, we got half of them done. We got 100 meters. 100 metric cubes. Alright, let's see what we got used up here. Use up all our steel and alloy? No. It looks like we're good to go here. Look what we used up. All this we made. More pipes. Basic power supplies. Screws. Put them in the inventory. Should have basic power supply. I hear something running. It's not running. Something stopped. I don't know what it is. There it is right there. Why is this not running? Basic connect. What was I missing? We ran out of battery. Okay, well, we'll get some more made. There we go. Okay, this one's probably out. I only did 25. Another 25 more. Okay, we got everything. Let's see, check what we need here. Bar assembly line. I still need to make a molded panel, but we still need double the screws. We need a whole lot more power systems. And I only have 2 units right now, so I'm going to have to work on this power system because we got to have the connectors with it. And basic connectors. It takes 4 connectors, so we do not have near the connectors, so I can't put them both on the power system. As I said, you really get going, like I say, I have 3 assembly mediums, and I keep them. If I'm building something, I use all 3 of them. I could use another one, just like the electronic assembly. I could use another one of those. I got 2 3D printers. You know, some things will do things, some things won't. I'm going to have this big pad here, so I am going to have more to do. And some people don't like building here on the sanctuary moon. You know what? I don't care where you live. You can't get all the materials, so you got to fly around the worlds to collect shit. I don't see where it makes any difference. And this place will always be safe for PvP. Nobody will be able to destroy it on me, so I will have it forever. So it depends on what you want to do. I don't have to worry about putting gun emplacements in and protecting it because I'm on a world they're going to turn PvP, be out of the safe zone, and there are probably worlds with better resources and stuff, and that's fine. I can fly around, do what I need. Like I say, this is just a small cargo, but I'll eventually make one that'll take at least a medium box. It takes a lot to fill these medium boxes up. I mean, look at this, all the mining that I do. I still haven't got this to capacity. As you can see, I got 11K, 13K, 9K, 8K. I have a lot of material, raw ore in this medium box. Now, I put one of them in a ship. I can go out doing a lot of mining on different planets. So, and even at 9,600, that these boxes in it is, it's still quite a bit of mineable materials when you include my backpack. So I can actually bring back a lot of materials when I go out mining on a different one. I mean, would it be better if I could take 5 times as much? Well, sure. But, you know, you got to start somewhere, and everything, we have to start from scratch unless you're in a guild and they have all this stuff made. Or you have a friend that shares construct rights, and you can build your stuff on his gear, which is probably the way to go for everybody, you know? So, there you have it. We're going to get out of here for now and just show you what I could. Have a good time, and we're going to go ahead and stop streaming. I think I'll probably make a shipbuilding video out of that to help people